thank you for joining us here at the Bill Mason Show. We have a lot going on today. My name is Mason.
And I am still Bill.
Hey, Bill, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
It's about 28 degrees up here.
Well, it's supposed to be 80 degrees this week, by the way, here in Florida.
Yeah, you'll be in shorts on Christmas.
Exactly. So, no white Christmas here, but we have a big action-packed video for you today, show for you. We have a lot to go over. Just breaking news, by the way. I don't know if this is true or not, but looks like police in Ohio found a nuclear device. I don't know if it's a, suitcase snook or what's going on, but a nuclear device in a garage in Ohio. So that's breaking news. So we'll see if that's fake news or correct. I don't know. Hopefully it's fake news.
Yeah, I just Googled it, and yeah, there's all kind of stuff popping up. Everything from the nuclear power plant. Yeah.
Some kind of nuclear device that was found. Who knows
Yeah.
what it is. So yeah, hopefully it won't blow up. And it looks like the police is involved. So today, the impeachment hearings, another fiasco. We had some great testimony from Jonathan Turley. Tell me some more about what happened today.
Turley was amazing. I'm not sure if they knew what they were getting when they asked for him to be one of the legal scholars to come up there, because the others were all stacked. I mean, it was so apparent they were just anti-Trump, very agenda-driven. All the questions, everything was just more and more smoke and mirrors. And then this guy Turley gets up there, and he's literally showing people that this is not a crime. You need something to impeach a president on, and he's actually challenging them. He's like, please don't be the guys that go down in history for trying to impeach a president on no crime whatsoever. I mean, you're going to look bad. He's warning them basically that they're going to look like idiots.
Yes.
And I loved it. I mean, I love the fact that there was one shot of Nadler in his chair, and I don't think he knew the camera was on him, and his eyes were wide. He was like, "Oh my God, shut him up!"
Yeah, he was. I mean, they were all stacked Democrats on that committee there, on that four lawyers.
Yeah, but
so
even he admitted that he did not vote for Trump.
Yep.
He's not a Trump supporter, but he is a Constitution supporter. And he said, this is a travesty. This is just outside the lines. This is nonsense. And he showed them all. I loved it.
Now, is Trump behind you? Is he telling you what to say? Because you are in the Oval Office, is that correct?
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to use the office tonight, so I could I'm sitting at his desk right now. His phone's behind me, and there's a secret door over here.
Yeah.
So
I like it. All right. Yeah. Well, at least he's not there. He's not telling you what to say.
No, not at all.
Okay, good. All right. So we're going to play some clips of Jonathan Turley today, and we're going to talk about it. So it was amazing testimony. So here we go. We're going to play a short clip, okay?
And here's my concern. The theory being put forward is that President Trump obstructed Congress by not turning over material requested by the committee. Okay? And citations have been made to the third article of the Nixon impeachment. Now, first of all, I want to confess, I've been a critic of the third article of the Nixon impeachment my whole life. My hair catches on fire every time someone mentions the third article. Why? Because you would be replicating one of the worst articles written on impeachment. Here's the reason why. Peter Rodino's position as chairman of Judiciary was that Congress alone decides what information may be given to it. Alone. His position was that the courts have no role in this. And so, by that theory, any refusal by a president based on executive privilege or immunities would be the basis of impeachment. That is essentially the theory that's being replicated today. President Trump has gone to Congress, to the courts. He's allowed to do that. We have 3 branches, not 2.
Now, Jonathan Turley did catch everybody on fire. Not his hair, but he really set the Democrats ablaze.
Oh yeah, and what he was trying to do there is to lay out the fact that they're citing these things of previous impeachments, and they're saying, well, we did this in the Nixon impeachment, and this was done in the Bill Clinton impeachment. And he points out again and again, he was like, both of those things had actual crimes. And he said, now you're citing this thing where Trump didn't turn over documents, therefore it's obstruction of justice. But honestly, you have to have a crime to pursue justice. So you can't just arbitrarily ask the president for documents. You know what I mean? Like, there is a separation of powers there. And I think he's a big proponent, as you can see in his testimonies, of separation of powers, judicial, executive, Congress. And he showed them that they're overstepping their power. Right. And it was great.
Yeah, that's the reason why we have three branches of government. So this won't happen. So
it's not supposed to happen.
It's not supposed to happen, right? Exactly. I mean, he did a great job. He spelled it all out. We have another short clip about it as well. We're going to play, but he was real, straightforward about what he thought. So his thoughts are in the past, the history about the impeachments that happened.
He backed everything up.
Yeah.
He didn't just make statements. He quoted actual Federalist Papers and literally went. Apparently, he was involved in the bill. I didn't even know this. He was involved in the Bill Clinton impeachment. He also testified there. Right. So, he's been around. This is not his first
rodeo.
He knows what he's talking about.
All right, here we go. We're going to play a short clip for what he said again.
Not a supporter of President Trump. I voted against him. My personal views of President Trump are as irrelevant to my impeachment testimony as they should be to your impeachment vote. President Trump will not be our last president. And what we leave in the wake of this scandal will shape our democracy for generations to come. I'm concerned about lowering impeachment standards to fit a paucity of evidence and an abundance of anger. I believe this impeachment not only fails to satisfy the standard of past impeachments, but would create a dangerous precedent for future impeachments.
So there you have it. So he doesn't think this is a legitimate opportunity to impeach a president, of course, like the Democrats think. They want him gone regardless. They started impeachment proceedings way before this Ukraine matter happened.
Day one.
Right. So from Russia to Ukraine to anything else they can think of, they're trying to get him on.
And another thing I want to bring up, like what Turley is trying to say, is that you're setting a precedent to impeach a president based on you don't like him or you disagree with his policies or whatever it may be. But think about this for a second. If you can imagine, let's say, and like I said, I would never want this in a million years. Let's say Trump gets defeated, okay, and Biden wins, right? Mm-hmm. All the stuff that we know about Biden, we just roll right into the next impeachment proceeding. Like, why wouldn't he be impeached? Mm-hmm. Why can't we push for, hey, maybe you get control of the House, and now here we go again. And then now American politics becomes this dog and pony show for the rest of the world where we just keep impeaching our elected officials. This is a joke, and he's trying to show them that they're part of the joke.
I mean, how does that precede us in the world? I mean, think about all the people around the world saying, what is going on over here?
Right. Can't they run a country anymore? Like, is it falling apart from within? That's what the Democrats want, apparently, to be perceived as. And you look at it, Obama went on an apology tour during his 8 years saying sorry what we did and we're a piece of crap country. And now we're just showing the world that, like, we have half our government whose temper tantrum is going to ruin any attempt at progress. I mean, all the trade agreements are still sitting on Pelosi's desk, and she knows this because they're both wins. They're both wins for Trump, and they don't want to give him that.
Exactly. I mean, they all want global government. They probably want United States to fall within. I mean, think about it. I mean, They want open borders, they want a global government, they want no United States at all. What was that saying? No wall, no USA at all. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's what they want. And so where it goes from here, looks like they will have a vote by Christmas. Basically, what's going on
Yeah.
tomorrow? Do you know what's going on tomorrow as far as proceedings?
No, honestly, what I caught today was I was originally listening to Rush, and then I came home and I watched as much as I could because I heard what a rock star Turley was, and I actually watched all 20. I think it's 25 minutes of his testimony in total, and it's all great. And then you have the flip side, the opposite. What was her name? There was this woman from Stanford, this big Democrat lady. I gotta find her name. Man, I don't know why I do this. I always bring up names, and then I forget them. What was her name? Let's see. Anyway, she was the one that was so hell bent on talking about Trump. Every question that she took, instead of talking about the legality of something, she actually brought up Barron Trump. She was like, yeah, even though he's not a king, he named his son Barron, and he can't just make a Baron and all this other crap. And I'm thinking, like, she didn't even answer the question. She just went on a rant about Trump, like she's an idiot. And then I watched the liberal media say she was like a hero, and I was like, hero of what? Like, what is she the hero of? Hating Trump?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Exactly. They hate Trump committee.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we do have Jim Jordan coming up.
Another rock star.
Exactly, and he followed right behind Jonathan Turley, and he addressed some of the issues that he pointed out. So we're going to play a clip here. Here he is.
Before the call between President Trump and President Zelensky on July 25th, before the Mueller hearing in front of this committee on July 24th, before all that, 16 of them had already voted to move forward on impeachment. 16 Democrats on the Judiciary Committee had already voted to move forward on impeachment, yet today we're talking about whether the positions they've already taken are constitutional. Seems a little backward to me. I mean, we can't get agreement. I mean, we got four Democrats or four people who voted for Clinton, and they can't agree. Yet today we're talking about the Constitution. Now, Professor Turley, you've been great today, but I think you were wrong on one thing. You said this is a fast impeachment. I would argue it's not a fast impeachment. It's a predetermined impeachment. Predetermined impeachment done in the most unfair partisan fashion we have ever seen. No subpoena power for Republicans. Depositions done in secret, in the bunker, in the basement of the Capitol. 17 people come in for those depositions. No one can be in there except a handful of folks that Adam Schiff allowed in those depositions. Chairman Schiff prevented witnesses from answering Republican questions. Every Democrat question got answered. Not every Republican question. Democrats denied Republicans the witnesses we wanted in the open hearings that took place 3 weeks ago. And of course, Democrats promised us the whistleblower would testify and then change their mind. And they changed their mind. Why? Because the whole world discovered that Adam Schiff's staff had talked to the whistleblower, coordinated with the whistleblower with no firsthand knowledge, bias against the president, who worked with Joe Biden, whose lawyer in January of 17 said the impeachment process starts then. That's the unfair process we've been through. And the reason it's been unfair, let me just cut to the chase. The reason it's been unfair is because the facts aren't on their side. The facts are on the president's side. 4 key facts: will not change, have not changed, will never change. We have the transcript. There was no quid pro quo in the transcript. The 2 guys on the call, President Trump and President Zelensky, both said no pressure, no pushing, no quid pro quo. The Ukrainians, third, didn't know that the aid was held up at the time of the phone call. And fourth, and most important, the Ukrainians never started, never promised to start, and never announced an investigation in the time that the aid was paused. Never once. But you know what did happen in those 55 days that the aid was paused? There were 5 key meetings between President Zelensky and senior officials in our government. 5 key meetings. We had the call on July 25th. The very next day, July 26th, we had Ambassador Volker, Taylor, and Sondland meet with President Zelensky in Kyiv. We then had Ambassador Bolton, end of August, meet with President Zelensky. We then had the Vice President meet with President Zelensky on September 1st, and we had 2 senators, Republican and, more importantly, Democrat Senator Murphy with Republican Senator Johnson meet with President Zelensky on September 5th. None of those 5 meetings was aid ever discussed in exchange for an announcement of an investigation into anybody. Not one of them. And you would think the last 2, after the Ukrainians did know the aid was being held, you would think it would come up then. Particularly the one where you got Senator Murphy, the Democrat, there talking about it. Never came up. The facts are on the president's side. But we got an unfair process because they don't have the facts. We got an unfair process, most importantly. And this gets to something else you said, Mr. Turley. And this is scary. How mad the country, I mean, that was so well said. This is scary. The Democrats have never accepted the will of the American people. To Mr. Turley's point, 17 days ago, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives called the President of the United States an imposter. The guy 63 million Americans voted for, who won an electoral college landslide, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives called that individual an imposter. That is not healthy for our country. This is not healthy. The facts are the facts. They are on the president's side. That's what we need to focus on, not some constitutional hearing at the end of the process when you guys have already determined where you're going to go. With that, I yield back.
What do you think about that? That is wild. I mean, he spelled it all out. He said everything that we've been saying.
Yep. And also too, the thing that Jordan has always, he got cut off more when Schiff was swinging the gavel. Now that Humpty Dumpty's up there, he seems to be, he's letting people talk more. I guess it's a little bit different on the judicial side of the House. I guess they have to look more like they're being judicial. But when these guys are allowed to talk, it's right on point and it's factual. Now, the crazy thing is that if you were to turn on MSNBC, they are not going to show you Jim Jordan, and they're not going to show you Turley, and they're probably not going to show. They're going to show you this loony. I just found her name from before. Pamela. Yeah, Pamela Carlin. Holy cow! If you want to see a loony bird, she is the queen up there, and they're going to show her on MSNBC because she was just doing tricks for crackers. And the Democrats are eating it up. And she'll be the star on everything except for a few media outlets. And Jim Jordan, you have to go on Twitter to hear what he said. You're going to have to go on Fox News. I'm sure Hannity's going to have Turley and Jordan on. But honestly, the liberal media is spoon-feeding most of these Democrat-type people with only half the story. Right. They're only going to take half the story, and they're going to think that this is valid. Well, and that's the problem.
Well, here at Bill Mason's show, we show you the whole thing. We show you what Turley says. We tell you, we'll show you what Jim Jordan says. Yeah. And we give you the full opposite of what's happening throughout the whole proceeding. So we're going to take you step by step. We know this is a farce. They will probably impeach him unless some Democrats start falling away.
I think at this point it's like jumping off a diving board. You got to hit water. These guys are too far into it, and they'll look like absolute morons if they call it off at this point. So they're complete clowns, and it's going to go to as far as they could take it, honestly, and then we'll see what happens in the Senate. And I think they're playing a chess game with that too, because they become the jury, and I think that's part of. They pressured Kamala Harris to drop out because Bernie won't be able to campaign, if he's got to sit there, as a senator, and they could play that out, even Warren will have to sit there too. And it's kind of like, playing this chess game with them, and they think the ball's going to be in their court the whole time. But once this goes to the Senate, I don't think they're going to throw it out. They're going to run the course, and they're going to question people.
You heard what Trump said the other day about calling witnesses, right?
Yeah. I
mean, he wants to call Biden, Hunter Biden, Schiff, all of those, and they're going to testify. Lindsey
Under oath.
Graham, yeah, exactly. Lindsey Graham, they are petitioning him to contact AT&T to get the phone records for all these people to
Sure.
see, because they got phone records from Rudy Giuliani and some other people, so they're going to petition phone records from them.
And here's another crazy thing. So John Solomon, I drop his name all the time. He's one of my favorite like research guys, and he's always so solid. He's technically the press. So I remember not too long ago when they were saying that Trump was attacking the press and he was this terrible person for calling them fake news and calling them out on that. Schiff literally released John Solomon's phone records, who he's a journalist.
Right.
That goes far beyond calling somebody fake news, and releasing a journalist phone records who is trying to be the fourth branch of our government, which everybody says that's not true, but that's what they were designed for. They were supposed to be the guys that kept everybody in check. That's originally what the media did.
Yeah. I mean, they did get subpoenaed for those records, but what's going to be eye-opening is when Lindsey Graham goes to AT&T and petition the other side's phone records, and when they deny him. That's what's going to happen. They're going to deny him his records.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
I mean, the other thing that what were we going to talk about? We'll get to the Joe Biden thing later. But no, real quick, what else came out about Hunter Biden is that now, I mean, I guess we could do a whole show on China, because some of the stuff that I've been uncovering is that his company Rosemont Seneca is locked into an SEC investigation now that is some type of money laundering, but not in the way that we think of it. It was, now the Chinese have been famous for currency manipulation, and they kind of got busted for that, and the whole world got wise to that. Right. Well, now what they're doing, it's kind of the same thing. It's stock price manipulation. So 4 out of 5 of the Rosemont Seneca investment fingers we're going to talk about are in these companies that are now being investigated by the SEC. And I released it on Twitter like the other day, but it was just, you would have to, sometimes it's hard for me to show people the rabbit holes that I go down, but you read the SEC filings and you see the names on there, and then you take those names and you see what boards they're on, and then you see who else is on the boards and all that stuff. And that's how you find out that Rosemont Seneca and those guys are tied into China, just like the Ukraine. These operations are money laundering at best. And I think this is kind of like a magician is like, look at this hand. And in the other hand, we're looking at the Ukraine, but the real dark stuff and the real dirty stuff is probably going to be over in China.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, China has been in the pocket of the Democrats for a while. I mean, if they ever took power again, all that trade war would go away. There wouldn't be no trade war. They'll let China run us over like they have in the past.
Right.
All the factories will just get up and leave and still go to China. So it was just, it's just crazy how people can vote for these people.
And that's, well, that's another thing I think we could do a show on. So the voting machines, it's a scary thing to find out who owns the company who makes the voting machines for probably about 5 out of the 10 biggest cities. So it's no coincidence to me that 10X software owned by George Soros does Los Angeles, Sacramento, California, San Francisco, Miami. Like they do all these huge like liberal cities, and it's already been exposed that these companies can be easily hacked. They basically leave the keys on the map for any hacker who knows what's going on. And that's another thing that scares the daylights out of me, that they know that they can't beat Trump and they're going to try it that way. And they'll probably blame Russia or China. Who knows? Maybe both.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're gonna go do whatever they can. It's going to get worse and worse. The media's going to pour it all on starting in January. They're always pouring it on now, but they're really going to pour it on from January all the way to November. I mean, it's going to get so nasty, your head's going to spin.
And their
So,
biggest fear is that the American public influences an election.
mhm.
That's what they, and several of them, AOC said it. She said, if we don't impeach him, there's going to be a terrible thing that could happen in 2020. He
Right.
could get reelected.
Oh, it's going to be a beautiful day, I hope. So,
Oh, man. I'll be able to hear the screams from my room. It'll be amazing.
It will be. All right, so we have Biden had a little get together today, a little rally, whatever.
Oh, the
you
no
wanna call it.
malarkey tour.
Yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
he was talking to supporters, and he called somebody fat, called a supporter fat. So we're going to listen to this video, and I don't know, there's some weird stuff coming out with Biden campaign, but let's take a look at this.
He always wants to take somebody outside. Isn't that weird? He's like, you want to do push-ups? You want to run? You want to fight?
Yeah, he would just go down in a push anyway, so it's just crazy. Anyway, here he is.
I got a question I want you to answer. We all know Trump has been messing around in Ukraine over there, holding their foreign aid for them to come up, saying they're going to investigate you. We don't know that. And he's no backbone for that. But you, on the other hand, sent your son over there, get a job and work for a gas company that you had no experience with gas or nothing, in order to get access to the public, for the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he is. So
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that? No one has heard that?
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV. No, I know you do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I get up and no, let him go. Let him go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take the 19 steps. Number two, no one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not
I
one.
didn't say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
That's what I hear on MSNBC.
You don't hear that on MSNBC. You did not hear that at all. What you heard, look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument with you, man.
Well, I don't want to.
Well, yeah, you do, but look, fat, look, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
It looks like you don't have any more backbone than Trump does.
Any other questions?
Oh, that's so good. Unbelievable.
It really is. You know what's weird? That he has to gaslight the situation. He has to be, you didn't hear that. You didn't see that. You didn't say, like, no one says that. That's debunked. And like that's kind of his move. Like he's a gaslighter. I mean, he has really no answer. And the reason he says, I know you didn't see that on MSNBC, is because he knows MSNBC's in pocket. That's the only reason.
Bill, you disappeared, by the way. I don't know what
Did
happened. Yeah, you disappeared. But anyway, that's okay. But we're going to play another video. And we're going to show Nancy Pelosi today at a news conference. But back to this one thing about Biden, though. Did you see that cartoon about the
hairy legs in the pool?
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Oh.
Whoever did that, I tried to find out who actually made it, but by the time I got to it, it's been passed around Twitter so many times,
Okay.
I couldn't really figure out who the original maker was.
Yeah,
but
that was good. I mean,
yeah.
I should have played that on the show tonight. But anyway, we'll play it later on. But anyway,
Yeah.
here's Nancy Pelosi at a news conference today. I don't know if she was drinking or what, but here she is.
When is it?
Mr. President, Madam Speaker, because
I don't hate anybody.
Representative Collins, reason I asked.
House, we don't hate anybody, not anybody in the world. So don't-
In the world.
accuse me.
I did not accuse you.
You did.
I asked a question.
You did. And
Representative Collins yesterday suggested that the Democrats are doing this simply because they don't like the
I
guy.
had nothing to do with it. Nothing to say with it.
I think it's an important
I
point.
think the president is a coward when it comes to helping our kids who are afraid of gun violence. I think he is cruel when he doesn't deal with helping our dreamers, of which we're very proud. I think he's in denial
your
about
job?
the Constitution,
What's it do
about
with the
the
hand?
climate
I don't
crisis.
know.
However,
No,
that's
I-
about the election. This is about the elect. Take it up in the election. This is about the Constitution of the United States and the facts that lead to the president's violation of his oath of office. And as a Catholic, I resent your using the word hate in a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love, and always prayed for the president. And I still pray for the president. I pray for the president all the time. So don't mess with me when it comes to words like that.
Right. So
Wasted.
you're back again. Good. So yeah, so she had to be drinking, right? I mean, what?
She's always. The only time I've ever seen her string words together in a coherent way is like if she has a meeting like before 9 a.m. or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure she has a liquid lunch every day because she stutters and I don't understand how she constantly gets reelected, but I guess that's representative of California and what they want in a elected official. But she strings words together and she says stuff which irks me. She's like, he doesn't want to help the kids when they're scared about gun violence or whatever, and he doesn't want to help the dreamers. The dreamers she was in when that whole Dream DACA Act and all that stuff went through, and Congress didn't do anything.
Right.
It doesn't fall on Trump. They keep trying to take their crap and make it Trump's fault. Like I saw
Obama had 8 years to make the dreamer.
8.
I mean, and a few of those years he had full control. He could have done
Exactly.
anything he wanted to do.
anything. He basically just had to get the pen out. I mean, it was so ridiculous, and nothing got done. And the gun violence, it wasn't it's not like it wasn't happening while he was in office. So what did they do? I mean, it's so aggravating. And then I saw a meme that said, for the first time in history, a president's going to get, impeached based on something that Democrats did. And honestly, that's how I feel. That's what this is going to look like in the history books. And like, talking to, some of the younger people that I work with, they're right. Their version of history, it won't be written. It'll be video. So the libraries right now, there's a couple companies out there that are literally trying to save every day of the internet, okay, as like a library proof, and they're fighting to keep this accurate record of videos and posts and things
removed.
that are because it's being removed. They're fighting to keep this valid source of information. And you think about, why would they not want that? Why are the people in power now not wanting a record? Like it's crazy. It's rewriting the present and erasing the past and
Wikipedia is changing it from Bill Clinton to Donald Trump. I mean, Google is eliminating pages for conservatives. Facebook is removing posts automatically. Twitter is removing people and posts. So it's a total purge of us. So in the end times, it said that we will be removed, and so it's a battle against good and evil. Yeah,
and at first people would joke about that and kind of like tongue in cheek be like, oh yeah, it's good and evil. What side are you on? I think it's becoming more apparent who's on what side. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to say like, oh, I bet that politician is a little on the dirty side. Well, guess what? This is like a smoke test. These bees are leaving. I mean, I can't imagine a more, I guess, reflection of the lost faith that Americans have in government. Like, the reason it's an electoral college landslide with Trump is because you literally have to have your head up your butt and live on these coasts to believe that Hillary Clinton would have done a better job at what's going on right now. And the craziest thing is they're ignoring the fact that unemployment is low, more people are working. I remember they were talking about how his tax cuts were going to hurt this country, but what they didn't realize is with more people working, that's technically more tax revenue. Okay, so he cuts the rate that people are being taxed of, but guess what? When more people work, that money comes right back.
It does.
So the nonsense that they say that he only cut taxes for the rich, I'll be honest with you. Now, it's not a lot, it's not a ton of money, but there's definitely more money in my paycheck, and I'm feeling it. Like, there are things that I have that I probably wouldn't have been able to buy last year.
Exactly.
So I'm feeling it, and I am lower middle class. I am by no means like a rich person, but imagine the magnitude, the order of magnitude that a 10% difference is for you when you're rich. Just like if I have $50,000 in the bank and they want to give me 10% interest, that's amazing. But what if I had 50 million?
Right.
That's even more amazing. So it's incremental. So when you cut taxes across the board, everybody gets a little sum, you know? So anyway, my point is that these people that get up and talk about how, you know, Trump is evil. For what? For being a nationalist. They're like, oh, he's a nationalist. Does that make him racist?
Oh, hold on, back up here. Hold on. I got to tell you this. So here I am. I'm watching Jack Ryan. You seen Jack Ryan yet?
Yes. Yeah.
You seen season 2?
I saw some of it. I didn't watch it all the way through.
Well, the first episode in season 2, they talk about Venezuela.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
He's in the classroom talking about Venezuela. Okay.
Yep.
They're not even. I know it's a fictional character and all that little stuff, but you kind of want to make it kind of realistic, right?
Yeah, I would think.
Tom Clancy rolled over in his grave. You knew Tom Clancy's dead, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he's dead. So he was a big conservative. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So anyway, so here we are in the classroom, Jack Ryan talking, and he goes, the new Venezuelan president, whatever name it was, you know, the fictitious name, is a nationalist, and that's big, bad, ugly nationalist.
Yeah.
And then he said the good guy who's running against him was a woman, and she's a social justice warrior.
Right.
I had to turn it off then, because that is the complete opposite of what's going on in Venezuela right now.
Right.
It's not right running the country, and these social justice warriors are trying to take over. It's the social justice warrior that's taking over socialism, communism, and then the good guys are trying to take it back.
Right.
So it's the exact opposite. But go ahead and carry on. I had to say that because I had to turn that show off because they said that, and it is totally the opposite of what it's actually reality is.
Well, honestly, that's part of, I call it like, it's almost like a global gaslight where you know what is real and you know what is factual, and they'll tell you it's not. They'll make TV shows. That's why I worry about the generation of these kids that really can't find the truth. When they want to know what really happened on what time or what day, like, how are they going to view history? How are they going to look at videos of Venezuela and the stuff that's going on? And people
they're going to look back at Jack Ryan. They're going to say he was a nationalist.
Exactly, and it's so much spin and so much like misdirection that we're gonna have to fight just to tell it's almost gonna be like word of mouth. Like, you know, I tell my kids and hopefully they tell their kids and be like, no matter what you read on 9/11, this is what happened because I remember it like it was yesterday, or so on and so on. Like, I have to be the arbiter of history for my children because I know they're going to Google search it someday and it's going to be totally different.
Right, exactly. They're going to be, you know, the planes just flew out of the air by remote. I mean, it's crazy stuff. But anyway, but back to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, you know, you just looked at that video, okay? She can't talk. She battles. No. So she is third in line. If Trump happens to Trump and Pence, she becomes president. Think about it.
And believe me, they thought about that. I honestly think that was one of their scenarios that they were just like, you know, I'm amazed that there haven't been attempts on Trump's life. I mean, big ups to all his Secret Service guys and He
Right.
travels extensively all over the place. And those guys, they must have their shit together because I've never seen more vitriol and hate for a human being.
Hmm.
Let alone, I mean, people don't don't attack Harvey Weinstein when he's out in public. You know what I mean? Like, but they'll attack Trump. They'll scream things at him from across the street. But Harvey Weinstein will just go and sit down at Arby's and eat a meal. You know,
It's because the Democrats and the media has gaslighted everybody, and they're
yeah,
enraged in the evil. Did you see when you saw the Joe Biden video? Look back again, okay?
yeah.
See that again, and those people in that audience, they were looking at that guy. They wanted to kill him.
Yeah, there was daggers, and there was an
Yeah.
old lady. She was turning around, and I could see a scowl on her face. Like, she was like, "Who do you think you're talking to?" And I mean, honestly, that guy had big cojones because he basically went in that room. It's a pro-Biden room, and that's the other thing that I think Hannity talked about it today. That's a small room, so he's going on this no malarkey tour. I have seen conference rooms bigger than that with more people in it that are for like a meeting for like a medium-sized company. Like if Joe Biden can't fill a conference room wall to wall, I mean, what's he really got going
Yeah, it's
on,
like
man?
a couple hundred people there, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's generous. And
Yeah.
you looking at a Trump rally that has 80,000 people, 40 some thousand inside and 40 some
Yeah.
thousand outside.
Yeah. And
So
people tailgate and like they can't miss it. Like
yeah.
like I don't want to miss it. I just had to tell somebody I was going to be here. You know, I mean, it's amazing the support that he has, and I think if he didn't have that real people showing up everywhere he goes, he would probably not have the thunder and the fire still under him. Because I mean, what a beatdown that guy's taken, man. And you know, I think years down the road, a lot of people are really gonna put him in a class by itself as far as presidents go for what he's accomplished and what he had to tolerate and put up with.
I agree, and I know he has some more work to do. So we have to get the globalists out of the government and then put it back in the people's hands and make it for the people and by the people, like it always has. So we're going to be wrapping up here today at the show here tonight. Again, it's December the 5th, 2019. Do you have any last words, Bill?
Epstein did not kill himself.
He did not. Did you see that doll, by the way?
I did, and then I saw Steven Crowder reenacted the Epstein hanging. They built an actual cell and all to specs, and they put all these like meters on him to like get the readings of if he could have broke his neck and everything. And it was like, there is no way. It's just, there's no way.
No, there's not any way. I mean, we still need to do a 2-hour show about Epstein.
Yeah, and how about I know we're wrapping up, but the New Mexico ranch, man. I was so focused on Epstein Island that I didn't even know about the ranch in New Mexico that Bill and Hillary were frequent flyers of. And the local runaways from the New Mexico area that never were found. I mean, this is like they're going to have to dig up the soil around that ranch and put it through a strainer. I mean, it's going to be bad.
It is going to be bad. It's not funny, actually, because there might be a lot of dead bodies there, actually.
Yeah, they were doing some wild, terrible stuff. And
that's bad.
Yeah, and when we do the thing on Epstein, I have some stuff. We'll talk about it off the air that I don't even think we could talk about, without getting banned. So,
we had to be a little bit age friendly there when we go there.
Yeah, it's bad. The stuff that they were doing.
Well, supposedly there's a hacker that has video of world leaders at the Epstein party on his island. It's supposed to be coming out soon, so we will show that for us.
Yes, as soon as we get it.
As soon as we have it. So, all right. So we're going to send you off to Neverland and say good night. Make sure you subscribe to our show.
Like and subscribe.
A lot more good shows coming up in the future. We'll be back with you next Tuesday, and then we'll go from there. Well, I'm going to say good night, Bill, and sayonara.
Yeah, man. I got to get out of the Oval Office. The cleaning lady's here.
Okay. Talk to you later.
See ya.